everyone, welcome back to ONYX Pages. This is my 2024 mid-year freakout tag. Thanks very much for watching this video. It is August something in 2024. And I'm gonna do the mid-year freakout tag. I find that it's a really good way to kind of take stock of what I've read and to reconnect to myself, to my reading journey, maybe make some new commitments for the rest of the year or not. It's also just fun. So here we go. The first question is the best book that you've read so far in the year. So I've got all the books that I've read right here. And I would say that out of all the books I have read so far this year, the best book that I have read so far is Chain Gang All-Stars. This is by Nana Kwame Adjei-Brenyah. Second book that I've read by him. The first was his collection of short stories called Friday Black. So in this world, we have, I think that this is like Black speculative dystopian about a future iteration of the prison industrial complex. And so what happens in this world is when you are incarcerated, you, at some point in your incarceration, you get the choice of like just completing the rest of your sentence incarcerated or joining this like it's like mixed martial arts meets like killing, right? Like it's a sport. So you're watching inmates, like gladiators, you're watching inmates fight each other to the death. And the inmates are grouped into chain gangs. And so each member is a link, and there's this whole hierarchy. And if you have so many kills, then you end up like being freed, high freed. But if you die, then you are low freed. And so everybody's competing against each other with the goal of being able to kill their way to freedom, which is, there's a lot. But I hybrid read this. As you know, if you've watched this channel, I love hybrid reading. So that's listening and like reading with my ears, reading with my eyes at the same time. The narrators for the audiobook were incredible. This was such a visceral experience. There was a lot. It was funny at times. It was sexy at times. It was brutal a lot of the time. It was eerie. And it caused me to ask a lot of questions about my thoughts on abolition and prisons and just so much. So it so far is the best book that I've read this year. It's one of those situations where I found myself kind of wanting to stop reading because it was going to end. Like I wanted the book to slow down. In fact, I think it took me about a week to read the last 10 pages because I didn't want to leave the world. And there were so many cliffhangers, so many twists, really interesting characters, like excellent book. I completely recommend it. So best book of 2024. Question number 2. Best sequel that I've read so far in 2024. I've only read one sequel, so I guess it's the best, and that is We Are the Crisis by Cadwell Turnbull. And this I read slow read this with a group on Instagram, and this was the first. So No Gods, No Monsters and We Are the Crisis are the first books that I've read written by Cadwell Turnbull. I wanted to read The Lesson and never got to it, and really should. But incredible books, both of them. It's a bit of, I only read one sequel, so it was the best. I will talk about We Are the Crisis and No Gods, No Monsters in a separate video, but needless to say, those were incredible books and wonderful world. Very topsy-turvy, very layered, and yeah, I'm really glad that I read them. And also, it was really great to read in community because then I learned a lot from the process. Question number 3: new releases that I haven't read yet, but I want to. This one's a bit hard for me because I don't keep the same kind of lists of new releases that I used to, since I've sort of changed my approach to reading. But I will tell you, a new release that I am currently reading is Black Heart Man by Nalo Hopkinson. And even if I don't remember any of the other ones that are coming through this year, I am so happy about Nalo Hopkinson's work, and that we have this. And there is another piece of work that's going to come out later in the year by Nalo Hopkinson, but this is the one that I am anticipating the most. And when I'm done that the next one will probably be the one that I'm anticipating the most after that. So this is Black Heart Man, and I am thrilled about it. It is going to be released in later on this month, August 20th. Blah, 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 blah. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I kind of already answered that, I think. 5, biggest disappointment. Oh, that's interesting. I don't think I have a biggest disappointment. Like, that's pretty, like, dramatic. But I will say that while I enjoyed Womb City, actually, you know what? I think I wasn't disappointed with Womb City. So, no. I don't think I have a biggest disappointment. But maybe just to finish the thought, Womb City was different from what I expected. The story became more complicated in the last third, and certainly in the last act, and introduced some elements that I wasn't expecting, and I had to work hard to kind of keep connected to the world building. So that's what I was going to say. But this book was not a disappointment. I enjoyed it and would actually recommend it. But there were some challenges with my reading experience that I will talk about. Okay. Biggest surprise. So I think the biggest surprise, and not because I didn't think the book would be good and then it was good, but loving Safwa was a literal surprise. Like, I got an email from I don't know if it's Liza Wemacor or Lisa. I'm sorry. But Wemacor emailed me, was like, I wrote this book. It's like sapphic vampires. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes. And how fast can I get it? And so for me, the actual existence of the novella was what was surprising for me, not the story itself. But I loved the story. The story was amazing. So, big surprise, but maybe not for the reasons intended by the question. Favorite new author, debut, or new to me? I don't have an answer to that question, so I'm not going to answer it. Newest fictional crush, I don't know. I was born in a decade. I don't really have... Oh, wait. Am I lying? Do I have a fictional crush? No, I don't have a fictional crush. I don't have one. I don't think Have I ever answered that question? I don't know. Newest favorite character. Ooh. Oh, wait. I do have a fictional crush. Okay. So, the main character in Chain Gang All-Stars, what was their name? Third War. That is my fictional crush. I don't even know why I said I didn't have one. I absolutely 100% do. Third War. Okay. And then the other question. Newest favorite character. Thurwar is also my favorite character. Thurwar, so principled, so stoic, so interesting, so skilled. Just an amazing character in Chain Gang All-Stars. Book that made me cry. No book made me cry. Is that true? Oh my gosh, I cried in Chain Gang All-Stars. So, yes, this book also made me cry. I don't usually cry in books, but this one did for sure. Oh, you know what? There's another book that I read. Let me just think about this. That should have been here. I also read River Mama. Actually, I do have an answer to the question of newest author. So River Mama by Zalika Reed Benta. Let me just grab that. I read that as well this year. And I really liked the story. I love that it was set in Toronto. So that was really great as well. I don't have any favorite characters. It was more sort of YA, and I really enjoyed the ending. It's really cool to read stories that are speculative and fantastical that are set in Toronto. It doesn't happen a lot. LaSalle Sambury, Nalo Hopkinson, and now Zalika Reed Benta are the ones I would say I would turn to most in terms of like stories written in Toronto, from what I can imagine. Yeah, so definitely new author that I will be following. Oh, and I also cried in that one as well, in River Mama, for sure. That one, I was crying on the bus. I was very surprised at myself. A book that made me happy. So this is a book that made me happy, and this was also a surprise because, let me grab it. God is a Black Woman by Christina Cleveland. So this is nonfiction. This is about Cleveland's experience sort of with the Black Madonna and challenging white father God images, going on pilgrimage. I think she went to France and Italy, I want to say, but definitely in Europe, to find the literal statues of the Black Madonna. And in doing so, learning about how to undo the negative beliefs that she developed as somebody who was raised with a white father God figure. And it was a really wonderful read. I guess it didn't really dawn on me until I read the book that it would be so focused on the European experience, but the Madonna, from my understanding, is set in like a Christian context. So I guess I should have expected that. I think I was hoping for more connections between the Black Madonna and African, like matriarchal or feminine divinities, but we didn't quite get there, so that was unfortunate, but it was a really good read. And so that was a book that made me happy because I found that it validated a lot of the experiences that I did have when I was Christian. Most beautiful book that I bought so far this year or received, I actually find the cover of God is a Black Woman to be stunning. In fact, it was the cover that drew my attention before I saw anything else. So I think that's really, really beautiful. And then the next one, I really like the cover art for Blackheart Man. Very different from the cover art that I've seen for Nala Hopkinson's earlier works, and that definitely drew me in. Okay, and then what books do I need to read by the end of the year? I don't have any books that I need to read, so I will just read what I want because I am allowed to do whatever I want at all times. So I think what I'll do is just end this video by showing you the books that I have read. So God is a Black Woman by Christina Cleveland. Chain Gang All Stars by Nana Kwame Adjei Brenya. Loving Safwa by Liza Wemacor. No Gods, No Monsters by Cadwell Turnbull and its sequel, We Are the Crisis, also by Cadwell Turnbull. Womb City by Tlotlot Samaze. Negotiating While Black by Damali Peterman. And I would say this is like kind of like a self-help nonfiction. And why would I even talk about it on ONYX Pages? I will because Damali has this like vision of Black people, people with identities that are marginalized, coming into our own in terms of how we negotiate and how we center our own value and our own worldview. And there is something futuristic about that. There's something speculative about that. What if we centered ourselves and our own skills and our own ways of knowing and persuading and engaging? What if we centered that in our professional lives? Wouldn't that be validating? Would we be more effective negotiators? And so I think any book that asks what if or requires us to sort of think beyond what we understand to be true, I think that is in essence speculative. So that's what I would add. The other piece is River Muma by Zalika Reed Benta, not piece, the other book. And then I'm also working through a book of craft. So writing speculative fiction, creative and critical approaches by Eugen Bacon. So that is what I will say. Actually, there is another, well, maybe I'll talk about that in another video, but Eugen Bacon is coming out with an anthology of, I believe it's nonfiction writing on Afrofuturism, African futurism, and Black speculative works. It's going to be coming out, I believe it's coming out in November, so I will be talking about that as well. That's all I have for you. That was the mid-year freakout tag plus. So if you have watched this all the way to the end, thank you very much for doing so. I would love to hear from you. What do I want to know? Have you read any of the books that I've read? And if so, what did you think of them? And if not, are any of the books that I read this year interesting to you? Please tell me why in the comments. I would love to hear that from you. And in terms of an emoji, how about a trophy or a medal? Because I am proud of the number of books that I've read so far this year. So please put a trophy or a medal and anything else that you would like to share. So remember always, read with purpose, because why are we doing this? And especially in this moment of time, in this historical moment, it is important to read with purpose. It is important to think about why we are doing what we are doing, right? Why are we creating the relationships that we're in? Why are we reading the books that we're reading? Why are we writing the things that we are writing? Why are we consuming social media the way that we are? Why are we developing the relationships that we are? Like all of those things, we need to be doing those purposely, and reading should be purposeful, in my humble submission. So please remember to read with purpose, and I will see you in the final video of this little series we've got going on here. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye.